Hello, my name is LoG, and welcome to part 3 of my Pick and Fingers power-up. Let's get started. All right, let's recap everything we've done so far. Part 1 was walking up the G chords with a little D chord in there. Then part 2 was walking up the G, E, A, F sharp, and then the B, and that's where we're at right now. So this part is going to change things up a little bit with the right hand. We're not going to be doing the pick, finger thing anymore. We're going to be doing something slightly different, so let's get started with that. We ended with this B, right? That's where we're starting with this part. And we're going to play another one of those little inversion chords. So this is actually a G chord with the third in the bass. So remember, this is where it kind of comes from. The 3, 5, 1 of G, 3, 5, 1, and I'm just taking the 5, which is the 12th fret D string, moving it up an octave to the B string, the D right there, and so now we have 3rd, root, 5th, like that. That's where we're starting. We played a bunch of those in part 2, if you remember. We played the G, then we played the E with that shape, then A minor, then we played the F sharp with that shape, and then we're literally just moving it up a fret to G. That's what we're doing here. This is where things change. So we're walking up, pick, finger, and then let's just talk about the harmony first, and then we'll talk about what the right hand's doing. I am straight up, no, weirdness going on. I'm just walking down chords in the key of G. That's all I'm doing, starting on the C chord right here. So this is a C chord, 1, 5, 3, that same kind of voicing that I've been using throughout this whole thing. So C, right, the 4 chord of the key of G, then B minor, the 3 chord of the key of G, 1, 5, flat 3. So the C was 1, 5, normal 3. B minor, 1, 5, flat 3. Sorry, it's getting crammed up here, but hopefully you can see everything. That's the B minor, the 3 chord. Then I'm just going to the 2 chord, A minor. Then a 1 chord, G major. Then the 7 chord, F sharp diminished, if you want to think about it like that. 1, flat 5, flat 3. That's the formula for these diminished triads. Then E minor, 6 chord, D major, 5 chord, and then finally ending with the C chord. That's this whole passage. It's super, super simple. Again, just walking down. That's it, from 4 chord to 4 chord, right? 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4. C, B minor, A minor, G, F sharp diminished, E minor, D, and then C. That's all it is, right? Really, really simple. And the string configuration is always the same. It's always A string, D string, B string this entire time. You just have to make sure you know the chord shapes. So all the major chords always look like this. Power chord, so pointer, ring finger, and then pinky up top on the B string. Like that. The minor chords are the same thing, power chord, except middle finger on the B string, because instead of the 3 being here, it's flat, so we'll be back 1 fret. And then when we have that 1 diminished chord, instead of having a power chord, because that's 1 and 5, diminished chords are flat 5, so this note has to be pulled back a fret, has to be flat, and the 3rd is still flat like it's minor, so we have a 1, a flat 5, and then a flat 3 for that chord. But everything else is pretty straightforward. Now, this is where we'll talk about what's going on with the right hand and what's going on with the pattern. So remember, we're starting this whole thing with this G, right? With the 3rd, root, 5th, like that. We're walking up, pick, finger, and this is where things get a little tricky. We're walking down the C chord, so like this. Like that. Again, what is that? That's 3rd, 5th, root. It's the same chord, I'm just kind of descending. And the way I'm doing that is this. I'm doing it with kind of a little bit of economy picking right there, where I'm picking downstroke on the B string, and then 1 upstroke will handle the D and A string. So it's a little tricky because you're not playing the G string at all. You have to skip that G string from when you're coming from the B string down to the D string. So down, skip the G string, upstroke on the D, and then upstroke on the A, like that. In reality, it's 1 upstroke that handles both of those. I've talked about that in the past with some of the other power-ups. So that's how we're starting it. So this is the first chord we're hitting, that G, right? Normal little G inversion, 3rd, root, 5th, then coming down the C chord like this. Then we're going up the B minor with pick, finger, right? Pick, finger like normal. Coming down the A chord like we did the C. That was pick, then upstroke on the D and A strings, right? Downstroke, up to handle those last 2. So let me play that whole thing. Walk up the G inversion, C, down, up the B minor, pick, finger, down the A minor, then up the G, pick, finger, Down the F sharp diminished, same way, like that. Downstroke, one upstroke to handle those two. Up the E minor, pick, finger, finger. Down the D, same thing. Downstroke B string, upstroke DA strings, and then we end on this C, and that's where we start the last part. So let me do that one more time. Sounds pretty cool once you get it going. But it's a little tricky, especially if you're not used to that kind of economy picking where you're jumping strings. So I'm picking like that downstroke and then one upstroke to handle these two. So that might, take some getting used to, but experiment with it. You could honestly probably pick it your own way if you want to, but that way is comfortable for me, so that's what I'm doing. So again, let's do that slow. We've got this going on, right? Pick, finger, finger, then the economy thing. Pick, finger, finger, economy coming down. Pick, finger, finger, same thing. And again, the chords that we're playing, we're starting with this G, third in the bass, little inversion, pointer, pinky, and then middle finger on the B string. Then everything is normal chord shapes, always 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, walking down chords in the key of G from the 4 chord to the 4 chord. That's it. 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4. And as long as you know what the chords are, the 1's always going to be major, 4, 5's always going to be major, 2, 3, 6 are always minor, 7 is diminished, which I'm sure many of you already know that. That's the order that we're running, and that's pretty much what this whole thing is. So hopefully all this stuff makes sense. Just like part 2, we're going to have 2 tracks here. The first track is going to run up, or just by itself, this one part. Play that a little better. And then the next track is going to run everything we've done so far. So that was part 1, excuse me, part 2, part 3. And that's going to be this whole entire thing. So keep your eyes open for all those little mechanical things you have to practice. Just like the other ones, if you want to play this whole thing with just chord hits like this, that's totally cool. However you want to do it, if you want to start with that and then branch out with the pattern, that's completely up to you. Use the track however you want. This one, I believe, moves from 70 to 150, so slightly faster there at the end. And remember, we're doing the 2 tracks. This part, the first part of just the exercise from this lesson, and then everything we've done so far. So let's get on to those tracks. right, that does it for part 3 of my pick and fingers power up. If you enjoyed this type of instructional material, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below, and I will see you in part 4.